All right, guys, we are gonna get started. Um, if you're online, can you hear me? All right, that's good. The first question: have you done your homework? So let's start with yeah, good. If you're online, do the thumbs up again. If you've done the homework, expects of course all of you to have done the homework. So it's don't say Kabir and poor. You have not done the homework. Kabir done. Okay. Okay, everybody has done. Okay. Hope you guys are not lying to me. All right, so today we're going to go to science. We did the science strategies, uh, then we did the math last week again. We're going to go to science today. All of you should have this book. Go and get this book. Open page 78. On page 78, we had gone through the discussion about the selection of passages. Am I right? Could you guys tell me the order of passages?
5, 1, 4, 2, 3, 6.
5, 1. What's that after that? 5, 1. What's the next one? 4, 2. Okay, 4, 2. 4, 2. Just want to make sure. 4, 2, and then 3, 6. Okay. All right. So let me remind you guys that when we did this, we have a clear understanding that you select these two passages and then you get to the questions. That's what we're going to do today. And each question has approximately 52.5 seconds. Of course, the first two passages should take you much lesser than 52.5 seconds per question, because if you end up taking that full 52 seconds, you will not be left with the difficult passage, which is usually the last two. So what we're going to do today, as this is the first real passage we're going to do, I'll be giving you a decent time, but once you're done with the passages, you need to unmute and tell me your name so I know who is done and who is not. Of course, Victoria, you can just raise your hands here so we can do two passages at a time and have a pretty good idea how much time you should take, and I'll keep track of time. Now remember, you cannot have your calculator on the desk because you'll be disqualified. Few other highlights to remember: read the question directly. Do not read the passage. Go to the question directly. Don't read the passage. Only read the passage when it's required. The next thing is when it says according to figure 1, the answer is only in figure 1. The first question of each passage is usually easy. As you go away from the first question, things get a little difficult. Not always, usually. The question that says, what is the author trying to tell? Those are the ones you need to be very careful. I have two words I always tell students in science: read the question correctly and completely. And then they'll come across questions where you have the S's and the no's as the answers, okay? S with a reason, no with a reason, S with a reason, no with a reason. Those ones you have to decide yes or no first before you go to the reason. Don't read the reason before you decide to say yes or no, because the reason can be distracting. Sounds good? Okay. Again, this is the first time we are doing it. It may take a little time, it may take a little practice, but you got to be, and remember, you'll be very tired when you are taking the science test. You'll not be as fresh as right now you are, hopefully, because anticipate this to happen after 3 hours of other testing. All right, let's go to passage 5 and 1. Passage 5 and 1. So you guys will be doing passage 5 first and the 1. If you get stuck on a question, circle it and move on. Don't waste your time getting stuck on this one. So passage 5 first, finish it, then go to passage 1. So you're going to do 2 passages, and I'll be muting the screen so that there's no disturbance. Your time starts now, but you got to yeah.
Sorry, do you want us to tell you when we're done after we're done with both?
Yes. Yes, please. So
Okay,
I have an
so
idea.
not just after
I may
after
actually
both.
show you the time, how much time you took as well.
Okay.
All good, everybody? Any questions?
So not after the first one.
No,
Sorry,
after both
okay.
of them.
Okay, thank you.
Any final questions, thoughts? Main thing is you got to be desperate, you got to be focused, and every question matters as we are looking for a very high scores. Your time starts now.
Cool.
Tessa. Annika.
Kabir.
Christian.
Soren.
So it looks like everybody's done. 10 and a half minutes.
Oh, you're on mute.
Thank you. Yeah, it looks like you guys are done. Um, so, so passage five had 6 questions. Passage one had 6 questions, so 12 questions. If you do the math, should have taken you guys approximately 10 and a half minutes, and that's exactly what it turned out to. But I was hoping you guys would be done around 9 minutes, 8 minutes, okay? Because otherwise you will not have time for the tough ones. I'm gonna read the answers for the passage one. So, and also when you grade it, I need to know, like write down at the top how many mistakes you did for each passage, so we'll be counting those at the end. Passage one, AJD, GDG. Passage 5, HCJ, BFA. First question.
Could you read the passage one answers again?
AJD, GDG. First question, how many got all correct? One. One mistake. Okay. Questions you need to ask me.
Number 4 on passage 1.
Number 4, okay. Any other questions? How many got question number
30.
Sorry?
Question number 30 for passage 5.
30. Okay, 4 and 30. Okay. How many got question number 3 correct? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, a lot of people. So I have a question on that one. Did they use those terms, the autotrophs and the detritivore? Did they use these terms on in the passage?
No.
So how did you guys get it correct?
I learned it last week in my biology class.
Yeah. So this is what you call a prior knowledge question, and the ACT actually doesn't expect you to have a prior knowledge. So that question is an exception to the rule that they expected you to know these definitions. I'm kind of surprised. They usually throw this question out. Okay.
I thought of it like, since it used the word auto, I just thought of it as like you do it yourself. So
No, I agree. Agree if you can analyze it. Yeah. But is it expected in that 35 minutes? That's what it is, right? Is it expected of you to know it? Usually, very rarely have seen question like question number 3 where they give something. Yeah, they expect you to know photosynthesis, but something like this, usually they define these things. Okay, I just want you to know question number 3. So I have question number 4 and a question number 30. Okay, all right. So again, I want you to write down how many mistakes you have done. Okay, that's important. So we did 5-1. What are the next 2 passages? 4 and 2 or 2-4? Was it 4 and 2? Okay. So you also know how much time you took when I showed you guys the time. So keep an eye on this because at the end of the day, time really matters. I'm not being very particular about time right now, but starting next time, next test onwards, we'll be cutthroat in terms of timing. Passage 4 and 2.
Can you also do number 33, please?
Okay, 4, 30, and 33. Gotcha. Your time starts now.
Kabir.
Soren.
Cool.
Tessa. Hanukkah.
Christian.
All right, I'm going to stop you guys around 10 and a half minutes again. Um, let's go to those questions first. Question number 4. Could someone remind me who asked the question?
It was me.
All right, Pur, what was your answer? What did you select?
I selected answer choice J, because I believe the question was asking something that required prior knowledge, because the passage didn't contain anything about cellulose versus cholesterol. And I
Yeah.
haven't learned that.
So again, question number 3 and 4. The, this is very rare. I've seen this to happen. They did give a hint on the first line of the passage that it's they consume wood and bark, but they didn't sell that the cell wall contains what. Of course, I teach biochemistry. I know that, but that's not should be expected. So this is another question they will throw it off. The answer is G, uh, because the wood and bark is plant cells, and the cell walls of plant cells consist mainly of cellulose. So, again, if you don't know this, I would not be too disturbed about it, okay? Because there is something you can do, and yeah, I would not worry too much about it. You may get one question like that per test, but in this case, you had already had two. Okay. Moving
Do
on.
you recommend knowing anything like prior background just to get those one questions that may appear on tests?
Impossible, because you're gonna have to know physics, chemistry, biology, and genetics. Not gonna happen. You just pray that your luck favors well at the time. That's all it is. So I won't put my energy into that basket and waste. No, don't worry about it. It rarely happens anyway. So, all right, Pur. Okay, moving on. Question number 30. Who has 30?
I did, Kabir.
Kabir. Okay, what was your answer?
I did. That was one that I circled because I didn't know how to solve it.
All right, let's go to according to figure 1. So you stay on figure 1. At 1150 degrees Celsius, the whole passage is designed on 1150 degrees Celsius, so it's a redundant data. The solubility of the CO2 in bassinet magma and the solubility of CO2 in theolytic basalt magma are close in value at which of the following pairs of pressure. So what I did was I went each one, 50 for bassinet and 200 for the theolytic. So remember, your y-axis is your solubility. Okay, so for 50, for example, for the first one, for 50 basanite, the solubility is around maybe 400, but for theolytic it's around 1000. For sorry, not 2000, maybe around 700 or so, because at 200 megapascals versus 50 megapascals, I'm just drawing the vertical lines. Kabir, you following me?
Yeah.
And then, of course, looking at the y-axis to get their solubilities. So same with G, same with H. So J is the answer. So 125 megapascals for bassinet. Let me tell you, 125 comes out to 1000 solubility for bassinet. For theolytic, for 200 megapascals, it's exactly 1000 as well. Does that make sense where I'm getting these numbers from?
Yeah. I get what it's saying now, because I didn't really understand like what the question was asking in the first place. Like,
Yeah,
how
they're
to
asking
match
for the
that.
solubilities of CO2, which are closest, in what combinations they are closest to each other. So
Yeah, I see now.
the one,
Thank you.
the one learning aspect of this is draw straight lines. That's, you got to draw straight lines, and that can be detrimental, especially if you have a non-linear y-axis. That can really change your value. Okay, doesn't mean that y-axis always have to be linear y-axis. It can be a non-linear y-axis or a quadratic or logarithmic y-axis. So you want to be careful there. 33. Who asked 33?
I did.
What was your answer?
I put C. I read the like y-axis of the graph wrong. I thought that was the temperature, but it's the ppmw.
Okay, let's try that. Consider the solubility of CO2 in rhyolite magma at 750 degrees Celsius and 200 megapascals as shown in figure 2. So I'm going to go to figure 2. So this is rhyolite magma. So 750, 200 megapascals. The solubility of CO2 is 1500, just like what we did for question 30. Then, according to figure 3, so I'm going to take that information. According to figure 3, this rhyolite magma has a weight percent of H2O closest to. So 1500 solubility, 200 megapascals, it's 0%. So it makes sense?
Yeah,
Is there any questions on 30, 33, and 4? All right, now I need to talk a little bit about how it's graded. So there is, when this is not just for science, this is for all sections and all questions. ACT follows a process called equate. Okay? It's called equate. Listen to this very carefully. So according to ACT and SAT as well, they believe irrespective of what test you take, your test scores will come out the same, which I don't agree on, but that's what they say. What happens here is, let's say, for example, question number 4. I'm just making this up, okay? I don't have the true values right now for this passage, by the way. I have for the passage 1. For 30, for example, if they think the question number 30 is easy and you get it wrong, they're going to remove more than a point called negative fudge factor. And if they think 30 was a difficult question, then if you get it right, they're going to add your points called positive fudge factors. So the grading is not that straightforward in ACT. It's based on the difficulty level, and there's other statistical parameters they look for. But for the big picture purposes, you look for, if you get the difficult question correct, you end up usually getting more than a point. And if you make a mistake on the easy one, it's going to hurt you. Like usually the first question of a science passage is usually the easiest, and when you make a mistake in that, it hurts you. Now, question number 1, passage 1 is a great example for question number 3 and 4, which have prior knowledge. This is what is going to happen. So if you make a mistake, it's not going to hurt you, because they will most likely throw the question out. But if you get it right, they're going to give you some positive factor called positive fudge factor. That means they think you did it well with some prior knowledge. So, does it hurt you? No. Can it help you? Yes. All right. Just wanted to talk about that one. And remember, as we go with science, I'll be talking a lot of different strategies and things you need to know. Now go to passage 2. Passage 2. BGA HDH B. Passage 4. CFD HBJ B. So in these two passages, how many got all correct?
You say passage 2 again.
So what did you say, Christian?
You say the answers for passage 2 again.
All right. BGA HDH B. So how many got all correct, these two passages? So that's good. One wrong. 1, 2. Any questions for me?
Yeah, could you go over 27?
11.
Hold on. So 11 and 27. 11 and 27. Okay. Any other questions? 11, 26, 27. Okay. All right. We are left with the remaining two passages. Ready to start? Your time starts now.
Could be.
Monica? Tessa?
All right, I'm gonna close at 12 minutes. So let's me go through those questions quick. Let's go to 26 and 27 first. I have. Oh, by the way, Rikav is here to teach English. But if you see him, when you see him, wish him is on his birthday. Today is his birthday. Okay, so all right, 26. Who has 26? All right, what was your answer, Victoria? Okay. All right, so which of the following statements best explains why delta T was 0 degrees Celsius for trial 8? The volume of the solution added was 0 ml for one of the, okay? Now, if you see the equation, chemical equation on page 84, NiClO and NaI are reactants, right? So, the F and G are basically wrong because they're the products. So you're left with H and J. NaClO in table 1 is 100 ml, but for trial 8, for NaI, sodium iodide, it is 0 ml. So the volume of the solution added was 0 ml for one of the reactants, NaI, so no reaction had occurred. So if you don't add the second reactant, there won't be any reaction. So the delta changed. Of course, it's kind of unfair for me to be talking about this passage because I teach chemistry. So, but anyway, you get the point. Who's asked for 27?
That was me.
Okay.
Could be.
Suppose that the reaction studied had been endothermic. Of course, as the endothermic reaction progressed, would the solution temperature more likely have decreased or increased? Now, see what happened in table 1. The final temperature was increasing. It's an exothermic reactions. In an endothermic reaction, the temperature decreased. So, answer would have been B, decreased because the reaction would have absorbed heat. Now, in the past, yeah, go ahead.
No, yeah, that was the thing. I didn't know like whether to put released or absorbed heat for that one.
Okay, if it releases heat, I've got a little chemistry I'm going to teach you guys. When you release heat, if I hold this, will I get warmer or colder?
Sorry, what'd you say?
So when a reaction produces heat, and if I hold the flask, will I get warmer or colder?
You'll get warmer.
So to decrease the temperature, it has to absorb the heat, so it cools down.
Okay, so is it talking about two different things then?
No. So in an exothermic reaction, the heat is released, that's why it gets warmer. So in an endothermic reaction, it's exactly the opposite.
Okay.
So another statement I can pinpoint in the passage in second paragraph there, when sodium hypochlorite and sodium iodide are dissolved in acidic water, an exothermic reaction occurs, and you can see the heat is on the right hand side. Heat is a product, heat is released. So endothermic will be heat will be absorbed, opposite to that one.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and to be honest, people have asked me this question whether it's going to be a prior knowledge. I don't think so. This is something they can expect to um, get it from the passage. Okay, I've seen that. Okay, what was the next question? Was question number 11? Who asked 11?
Me.
All right, what was your answer, Christian? I can guess. I think you may have written A, but we'll see.
I wrote A, yeah.
Okay. So as soon as I read that question, I thought that can be either A or a D answer. 1 week after the start of the incubation, so the incubation is happening right now. Which of the 4 samples of strain V2 elementary bodies would have been least likely to infect another organism that came into contact with the samples? So now remember, at 4 degrees Celsius incubation, after 1 week, that strain of the bacteria is still alive, 59% survival rate. And they have defined percent survival as the percent of elementary bodies that survived. So there was 59% remaining to infect other samples. For 37 degrees incubation, there is nothing left, so there's no infection that can happen. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, it is a or a D answer, but question is what is going to, so what is left, what bacteria leaves will infect, right? So we don't want bacteria to leave, so it's incubated. So after at 1 week for 37 degrees, it's all gone. So, all right. So we are left with passage. I have to do this a little quicker here. Was it passage 3, right? Let's go 3. Okay, everybody listen up. Okay, so I want to keep it moving here. GBH, AFC, F. What is the next passage? Passage 6? 6, okay. FCF, BJB, F. Did anybody get all correct? One wrong?
I did.
Okay. So quickly count the mistakes you have made. I think at least people have got one wrong. So for all the 40 questions, did anybody get only one wrong? 2 wrong. Christian, 38. That's very good. That's really good, really good. I believe your score would be either 35 or 36 for that. Okay. So that's really good. 3 wrong. Kabir, that's good. 4 wrong. Soren, okay. All right. If you have any questions on that, text me so that I can work with you guys directly one-on-one. But we won't have a much time to break today. Maybe a 1-2 minutes stretch break, and then we're gonna get started with recover on English. All right. So I won't even I'll keep this on so we can keep it moving. All right. Okay. See you guys. See you next week.